You stay? You sit? No. we Before we start the class, we say short prayers, so you can see if you can follow me or read together with me. If you can't, you can just meditate. Enjoy listening.
Everybody.
Next invocation of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. All right. Good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
So we have two young, well, not your kids, or how old are you guys?
Very young adults.
Young adults, okay.
College or
College, high school.
College,
But
high
I'm
school.
about to finish high school.
Oh, okay. So you're grown-up kids. What do you call young adults?
young adults?
It's the first time you are attending Buddhist class. What make you come to class? Have you heard
it's
about it before?
Curiosity.
I see.
My mother is a Buddhist, and I wanted to learn more.
Oh, okay. Where are you from? You are Chinese?
Japanese.
Japanese, okay. Your parents are Buddhist?
Just my mom.
Just your mom, okay. Do you see yourself as Buddhist, or you're still like thinking of considering?
I want to be a Buddhist.
Okay. You are both welcome. Hopefully you will enjoy the class.
Thank you.
Today, Brian and what do you call
don't
Tracy,
know. Yeah, I guess
they're
not.
not coming here.
I don't know.
They
Maybe
are-
they had
they're-
something to do
they're
with
busy.
Geshe Sopa.
They're busy.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brian is on the video. Tracy is busy or something. We have some new people. I think Karen or one lady, Gabriela, and Hunter, Gabriela Gutierrez,
Oh yeah, you know,
It's me, Lama.
Oh, that's her. Okay.
Gabby, and
I
then
only know
It's
Gabriela.
Gab.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the other woman is Gabi, who's been coming. So there's Gabby and Gabi.
Okay, I see. Okay, I see. Yeah, I see this kind of same spelling, Gabriela.
Yeah, same spelling.
Pronounced different.
But we pronounce their nickname a little bit different.
Oh, okay. Gabriela.
Hello, Lama.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. You okay?
Yes, I'm doing well.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Good to hear from you.
Yes, I'm glad to be here.
Hi, Gabby.
Hi, everyone. Long time no see.
I know. We miss you.
I know. Miss you too. But circumstances and, now
Yeah.
I sometimes work on Saturdays because my work schedule changed drastically. But I'm hanging in there.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Hang in there.
Yes.
Okay. So we are here to practice Buddha's teaching. Buddha, this is a Buddha, historical Buddha, Buddha Shakyamuni. And reason why we are studying Buddha's teaching, because we want to practice Buddha's teaching. So that way we can find happiness and be free from suffering. That's what we all want, right? Do you want that too? You want happiness? You don't want suffering? You want happiness for how long? For today or for tomorrow or for 1 year, 2 years, or just this life, or how long you want? You want permanent happiness or temporary happiness? Permanent happiness. So that's, if you want permanent happiness, you are at the right place. If you want temporary happiness, maybe I don't know if you're at the right place. Still, actually, it is actually, of course, by studying and understanding and practicing Buddha's teaching, we can not, of course, we can achieve, we can enjoy, we can definitely much happier, even temporarily, and definitely it will lead us to our ultimate or permanent happiness. That's for sure. And when we're talking about happiness, we are talking about what we need to be happy. We need to be, what we need to be happy. We need a good body, healthy mind, and we need wealth, right? Money, right? Money is important. We need wealth, and we need a good relationship, right? We need good parents. We need a good look, right? Everybody wants to be a good-looking man and beautiful woman, right? Right? That's the fact. And we want to have a good place to live, good environment, good atmosphere, good society, good world, good country, right? Our happiness depends on so many things, good food, good clothing, and longevity, prosperity. So it depends on so many things. We need so much to be happy, right? We cannot just be happy with nothing. We need all the facilitating, contributing factors, facilitating factors to be happy. So in order to, and also we need to have a good brain, intelligence. You guys go to school because that way you get a good education. That way you can get a good job. That way you can get a good salary. That way you can have quite enough money or more money, or a lot of money to buy whatever you need to survive or to make your life comfortable and happy, and do things that you want to do, buy things you need to buy, and help, and also support somebody that you want to support in your life, right? So all this requires money. And for that, you need education, right? Or you have to work physically, labor job, hard work. Then you can make money and buy your sustenance, something that by which you can survive and live your life. So all these things. So basically, we are talking about healthy mind and healthy body. And healthy mind means healthy wisdom, healthy intelligence, knowing how to think, how to understand things, how to see things, what to do, what you should do to be happy, and what you should not be doing in order to avoid suffering, right? So for that you need brain. In Buddhist language we call wisdom. So both are required. So when we have only two, body and mind. We can talk about so many details, but basically it boils down to the body and mind. So, and also make it, and when we talk about mind, we are talking about mainly the wisdom. Mind that is endowed with the wisdom. That makes sense. But, we can talk about different minds, so many different types of mind in Buddhism. But basically, what we are saying is mind with wisdom, endowed with wisdom. Mind without wisdom is foolish. If you are foolish or dumb, you cannot have anything. You cannot achieve anything. You cannot get nowhere. You cannot, of course, do anything for anybody, for society, for family, for the country, for anybody, but even for yourself, you become totally dependent and totally dependent. You cannot even take care of yourself. So that's unfortunate, right? You don't want that. So wisdom. So Buddhism talks about method, ways, path. They call path, P-A-T, by which we can find healthy body and healthy mind, or healthy mind with the wisdom, not just low level wisdom, highest level of wisdom. Talking about wisdom by which we can understand what actions of body, mind, speech that we need to adopt and practice or apply, that can lead to not just temporary happiness, but to lead us to ultimate happiness, to help us achieve ultimate happiness. And also we are talking about positive. When we talk about path or method, we are talking about two forms of method and path. It is opposite of two aspect. Method or path, we are talking about it is composite of two aspect. Method aspect and wisdom aspect. When we are saying method aspect, we are talking about compassion as a source of happiness, loving kindness as a source of happiness. Altruism is the source of happiness. Altruism, altruism? Altruism means altruistic intention, the mind seeking enlightenment, seeking liberation, self-liberation or enlightenment is the highest form of achievement, attainment, highest attainment that one can attain through practicing the path, through practicing the Buddhist teaching. So, and so for that we need to have a compassion, altruistic, that kind of it's called aspiration. Altruism means it's called altruistic intention, positive intention, highest level of positive intention, motivation, seeking enlightenment. That way you can be able to, you will be, that way you will be able to not just free yourself from suffering and help yourself attain the highest attainment, such as enlightenment, but also you will be equipped with the wisdom and greatest compassion and loving kindness and heart or aspiration that is willing to serve and benefit and help everyone free from suffering and help them uh, help them achieve ultimate happiness, enlightenment as well. That kind of wisdom we are talking about. And during our lifetime, even this lifetime, even in the lifetime that we will have in our future life, next life, let's say, and future life, also throughout the world in your everyday life, we need, in order to be happy, temporarily be happy, we need healthy life, good relationship, good parents, quite enough wealth at least, wealthy and good looking and opportunities for studies, opportunity for to get good job, get good education, everything, you name it. Housing, good, comfortable house, place to live, and good friend, good companionship, even good husband, good wife. You guys are very young when you will be having looking after husband and wife, good relationship, good children. Let's say also good parents. All these are it is these of course. When you look at it in from an ordinary point of view, ordinary perspective, you can see, oh, these are, you can, if you're handsome, wealthy, educated, you may have a good wife, beautiful wife, or a good husband, a handsome or capable husband, and so forth. Well, of course, this also depends on that also. But behind all these, the um, all these immediate factors of contributing factors, there is another force, another force, so another factor that lies behind that. That is, we call it merit, 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 which is root source of your all these good things, which root source that is like an origin of all your good things that you are seeking in your life, such as good health, good body, good looking, good, all these things that just I mentioned, they are coming from, according to Buddha's teaching, according to his discovery, through his meditation, through his practice. That's what he discovered, good merit, positive merit. All these come from, positive merit, which is accumulated through positive karma, positive action, meaning beneficial action, kind action, compassionate action, action that is carried out of compassion, out of loving kindness, out of good heart, pure heart, benefiting heart. All these actions, all these positive karma, positive action, virtuous deed, these through all this positive karma, what you are gaining in return, what you accumulate in return, you accumulate merits, merits, merits.
Yeah.
That becomes the source of your all the mm, um, good things that I have just earlier mentioned, such as good body, good look, good health, and opportunity, and even living in a country like this, well developed, where you have freedom, and freedom, opportunities. We talk about it, and rights, human rights, and rights for education, right for speech, and all these things we are talking about in this country, in the democratic country, right? Not that is not that people in other countries does not have. These are coming from that merits, positive merit that you accumulate, you earn, you gain through these positive karma, good deeds, kind deeds, compassionate deeds that you have carried out of your compassion, loving kindness, and altruism, good heart. You understand? So because that is very very important, one of the most important. This is one aspect of the path. So that's why if we don't have compassion, compassionate heart, kind heart, good heart, loving kindness, and so forth, we won't be kind enough to other people. We won't be doing good things for others. We won't be caring for others' well-being. We won't be caring for others' suffering. We won't have any feeling because we don't have feeling for them. We don't care. We say it's your problem. It's not my problem. It's your problem. You solve yourself. It's my problem. It's my problem. That's what we ordinary people do. But Buddha said that's wrong. If you want to achieve more and more lasting and permanent happiness, you have to be kind, you have to be compassionate, you have to be, good and beneficial. Make your life, live a life, make your life meaningful by being kind and compassionate to other people, serve other people, help elderly people, be nice to your parents, especially elderly people, be respectful to their feelings. Don't disrespect their feelings. Don't be unkind to them. Be grateful to their be grateful for their kindness. That's important. That is a very, very important part of Buddhist practice. One of the most important part of Buddhist practice is to be kind to your parents. be respectful, be grateful to your parents. You don't say where you had a fun and you made it and it's your job to raise me and grow look after me. It's your job. It's your you don't Buddhists don't say that. Even Buddhist kids won't say that to their parents like some others do. I hear that's absolutely wrong. That's not the case. You chose to be their kid, not parents chose you. Yes, according to Buddha's teaching, it's discovery. You chose to be their kid, and you happen to be their kid because you chose it. They have not chosen you. You have chosen to enter into their life. So it's not that this their job to look after you. They could just throw you out, but they didn't out of their compassion, out of their love. They did so because of that they raised you. They did everything they can to raise you and make you a better person, make you an educated person and kind and compassion. That way you have a happy life and you don't suffer in your life. So understanding all these things, we have to be very grateful to our parents, especially when they get older. You don't look down on them. You don't mistreat them. Okay? So if you're Buddhist, that's what you have to do. So what I'm saying, so all these good things. So we are in order to attain. So since Buddha is somebody, Buddha was not Buddha from the beginning. He was like us. He had all the negative, afflictive emotion, negative emotions such as attachment, hatred, anger, jealousy, ignorance. All this like we do. We suffer because we are angry, we attach, we jealous. We want so much, we have a greed. That's why we are running after wealth and name and fame all the time, day and night. We still cannot have it. We fight for it. We do all the bad things to gain all these things. But we end up still suffering. We end up still dissatisfied. Although we have too much, but we are not still happy because whatever you are running after is not the source of our real happiness. Of course, it may give you temporary position, temporary name, fame. People may applaud you and all that, but it lasts very short time. They may like you one day, they may not like you next day. They may put you up one day, but they may throw you out next day, next day or next month or next year. These are not totally reliable source of happiness, wealth, name, fame. Of course, but people are attached to temporary happiness, temporary. That's why they do, all this stuff. That they don't see what is coming after it. What lies beyond that. Understand? They don't see. They don't have that wisdom to see that. So that's why, as a Buddhist, that what Buddha teaches, we are looking after not just temporary happiness, but long-lasting happiness. So that requires a lot of some kind of discipline, and some kind of moral ethics. Practice abiding by moral ethics, living a life that is led by moral ethics. And we don't let ourselves be controlled by our emotions, especially negative emotion, anger, attachment, jealousy, all kind of attachment and all that. If you let yourself be controlled by negative emotions such as the strong attachment, strong desire, strong greed, strong jealousy, anger, hatred, then you will end up yourself in a lot of miserable life, misery. So you don't do that. You just um, and you just reverse it. You let yourself be controlled or be led by positive thinking, positive emotions such as compassion, such as righteousness, and wisdom. Far, far, far-reaching insight, and that kind of thing. This is important. That way, you don't make mistake. You make least mistake. Suffering is all the suffering that we experience in our life are mostly caused by our own wrongdoing, wrong choice, wrong decision, wrong thinking, wrong seeing, wrong understanding, and wrong behavior, wrong negative misconduct. So that's why we talk about discipline, morals, and positive method aspect with pets such as this positive emotion, compassion. Buddha talk about importance of cultivating positive emotions such as compassion, altruism, kindness, tolerance, patience. To see you guys are friend, boyfriend, girlfriend. So you have to be, in order to, you want your relations to be last, right, long time. So you have to understand each other. You have to love each other sincerely, dearly from your heart, not just based on some kind of sexual desire only, or just based on attraction, just based on some kind of something in return, like money or something, benefit, not physical, but pure love, and and pure pure love with not much, not anything in return. Some things like like a business people do. They give you stuff because they want your money, right? Otherwise, it's give and take. What do you call it in the West? Give and take. If your love is based on give and take, then when one person cannot give you in return, then you will stop loving him or her, because you what you are giving, you are not getting something in return, right? It's a business, right? So you don't do that. If you truly love each other, you just do it from your heart. Then your love will last forever. Maybe you want to be together, not just this life, but in for next life too. So love lasts longer. Anyway, so this is just a common experience. So we are studying mostly, um, this text where we are studying is about the importance of cultivating method aspect of the path, as I explained earlier, in which is like cultivating compassion and loving kindness and altruistic intention. The bodhicitta is called. So it is authored by one of the Tibetan master, Gyatse Ngöchu Tome Sangpo. Is a bodhisattva. Bodhisattva is the person who dedicates his or her life serving and benefiting other people. Who lives a selfless life. We live mostly selfish life. So that's why we are ordinary people. But they live selfless life. They live all their life serving and benefiting other people. So we've been talking about it for some time. So now this I will explain from the second verse, right? Last time we did explain the first verse. First verse is mostly about, if I just do it briefly, first line, two line is first line is talking about, of course, it is worshipped, the verses that worship, in through which author worships Buddha of compassion and his guru, saying that his guru and Buddha of compassion possess the wisdom, understanding, ultimate truth. In the second line, means author is saying that Buddha of compassion and his guru possess the compassion, the altruistic intention, altruism, loving kindness towards all beings who are suffering out there. He wants them to be free from suffering and the cause of suffering as well. So, Lama Chitta, so that kind of, so in other words, his author is saying Buddha of compassion and Buddha and all his gurus possess both wisdom, understanding ultimate truth, wisdom, understanding conventional truth. And so that's why he is, always, always, not just when he need to need their blessing and so forth, but he always, pays respect from the body and mind and speech, and he also is, I prostrate from the body, mind, speech to both of compassion and his guru. That's what he's saying basically. And next line is Pendejune Zobe Sanjanam Tamje Double Chunde Tean is Pendejune. That means what? So if we as an ordinary being or follower of the Buddha, if we want to seek ultimate happiness or permanent happiness, that can be obtained by attaining enlightenment. Or if you want to be like enlightened, if you want to be enlightened or attain enlightenment, what you have to do. Like Buddha himself, he is enlightened, or he has attained enlightenment. He is free from suffering. He he has attained or developed the highest level of wisdom by which he can understand everything. So if you and me, we want to be like him, and we want to be we want to attain enlightenment, what we have to do is we have to practice the Dharma. Dharma means Buddha's teaching, his teaching. Because his teaching talks about the method or path, which is composite of two aspects, method aspect, wisdom aspect. If we study and practice his teaching, on which is also known as path, which is composite of method and wisdom aspect, then practice it continuously, successfully, correctly, then definitely sooner or later we can attain enlightenment. And that's why so that's why in order to attain enlightenment, we have to practice his teaching, the path he taught. And in order to be able to practice, we have to first understand it. In order to understand it, we have to study it. That's what author is saying. I am going to explain the path, or teach Buddha's teaching or path that can help us attain enlightenment. I'm going to explain path, that is especially the path practiced by Bodhisattva. I'm going to explain it. So this is second verse. And then here, if we go a little bit detailed explanation, I'm a little bit concerned if I cannot finish it or something. It's taking a little time. So far we have finished this part, this much pages. Today what I'm going to, this morning I thought I will do this class, this book. The next two class, I will do this one. And this is a little bit shorter explanation. Then I'll be able to finish on time. So, so our Buddha is somebody who is free from all the faults, faults, and who has developed all the positive qualities such as wisdom and compassion and so forth. So how he taught knowing everything what he's teaching, knowing that what you and me should be doing in order to attain ultimate permanent happiness, and what you and me should be doing in order to free ourselves from all the suffering, not just temporary suffering, but suffering from ever, suffering, not just free from suffering, but the cause of suffering, that way. So he knows all these things. That's why, knowing all these things, he taught the path that we can study and practice. That way we can also be enlightened like himself if we practice. So in the text, there is a text known as commentary on valid cognition. It's a very difficult text. Commentary is a logic taught by Padanchara, means Dharmakirti, one of the Indian masters. What he says is that he taught actually 6 or 7, he authored 6 or 7 different texts. It's all about Parmana, the logic. So in his text, one of his texts known as Commentary on Valid Cognition, what he says is that he's saying, what he's saying, all these Buddhas, enlightened beings, they attained enlightenment by cultivating greatest compassion. Is the one main cause by which they attained enlightenment. Dubje means by the means. Compassion is the means by which they attain enlightenment. Makes sense? That's what is. That's why he's only saying. I'm reading. This is the explanation or commentary for the verses that we are studying. His commentary by His Holiness Dalai Lama. You know the Dalai Lama? Maybe not. So also, those enlightened beings such as Buddha Shakyamuni, this is historical Buddha. We talk about different Buddhas. So Buddha, what they did also, one man, but it they practice the altruism, the bodhicitta. The bodhicitta means, bodhi means enlightenment, chitta means mind of enlightenment. They practice or cultivated bodhicitta or mind of enlightenment. That's how they gradually attained enlightenment. So what? Since all living beings, like you and me, since we seek permanent happiness and be free from the suffering and cause of suffering, what we have to do is we have to work on taming our mind. Taming, tame, T-A-M-E, tame. You know what I mean by tame? Taming our mind. We have to, because our mind is the troublemaker. According to Buddha's teaching, nobody is making you making you do making you become troublemaker. You are the one. Who? Which, if you say you, which part of your body or your mind? Your mind is the one that is making you become, that is turning you into a troublemaker. So according to Buddha teaching, is our mind is the troublemaker, as well as it can also become a peacemaker, happy maker. But most of the time, if you don't pick which mind, uh, uh, which mind, how do you say? So we have to pick the right mind that makes us peacemaker, mind that turns into a peacemaker or happy maker for ourselves and for others. But we mostly happen to pick up out of our habitual tendency, habitual instinct, also habituation. We tend to pick up the wrong mind that turns us into a troublemaker. So so that's why we have to tame our mind, monkey mind, like we say. So we have to, if we can tame our mind, we will behave much better in terms of our actions, of our speech, the way we talk. We will be talking nicer, respectfully, kindly, and gently, and so forth. And we will be behaving better, we will be behaving kindly, compassionately, and so forth. And thinking better. The more we are able to tame our mind, we will be thinking, we think so many things, countless things in our everyday. Every moment we are thinking all sort of mostly negative and wrong thinking, so many speculations, so many doubts, so many concerns, so many worries we have, mostly based on misunderstanding and so forth. So all this makes our life more miserable. More we That is very much unnecessary. We already have too much to worry, too much pain and suffering already. But on the other hand, we also make ourselves more miserable by wrong thinking, all kind of speculation, doubt. Doubt is a lot of things. Speculation, mis-speculation, wrong speculation. You can have a correct speculation, but mostly wrong, and wrong thinking, wrong viewing, wrong seeing, wrong understanding. These are the cause of our suffering. If we can tame our mind, we won't be doing all these things. So if more we remain untamed, more we let ourselves be led by untamed mind, our life will become more miserable. More we let ourselves be led by tamed mind, our life will be much more happy and peaceful. You understand? So lo sangye tsawa sem tu mada sem madu teni tu tabs lang tu ni sushin yam silengo. So what and also tame our minds. Usually we said that good heart, kind heart, compassion heart. If we have more, we have these positive thinking, positive thoughts, positive emotions such as compassion and kindness, so forth. We will be much more better, thinking better, talking better, behaving better. So we will have this compassion and all this positive thinking and emotion and positive thoughts, positive state of mind, if we have tamed our mind. So taming our mind is the most important practice. When we're talking about practicing Buddha's teaching, taming our mind, working on our mind, taming our mind, disciplining our mind, pacifying our mind, keeping your mind be calm. You see a lot of people get so stressed and angry because they are not able to calm their mind. They are not. If something goes wrong, they immediately get so irritated, so agitated, so what do you call intense, and then they lose the calmness of their mind. That's the period. That's the moment they make all the mistakes, all the wrong decision, tend to do wrong thing. So that's why we calming our mind. That's very important. So so this is so for that you have to know how to tame your mind, how to control your negative thought, negative emotion, how to discipline your mind. You have to know all things. That's why you have to study these things. You have to study, what these kind of text, like this kind of text. So in order to be able to understand this, you have to know, you have to find somebody who can explain these things to you, who can teach you, who can how to tame your mind, how to discipline. You have to find somebody who can teach you, who can explain this teaching correctly to you. That way you can study it and understand and practice it. That way you can be happier and keep yourself from trouble. Buddha has taught all these things in detail, in so many ways that we can understand it. So many, according to our mental disposition, he has taught so many various, so many different types of teaching in so many ways, depending on the level of mental disposition, level of mental capacity of his countless students. That's what Buddha. That's why it is said that also it is said that the Buddha's teaching is pende june. Like Buddha is also like a pemba. He is a source of benefit, source of happiness. When you become enlightened, you become source of benefit, source of happiness, not just for yourself but for everybody. All you would be doing is good thing, beneficial thing, not just beneficial for temporary, but for good for a long time. So this Buddha, they became Buddha because of studying and understanding the teaching, understanding the reality, understanding the ultimate truth. When you're talking about truth, when you're talking about truth, we're talking about two levels of truth: conventional truth and ultimate truth. Buddha, through his study and practice and meditation and contemplation, he discovered all these two levels of truth. For us, not to mention the ultimate, to know we lack understanding of the ultimate. We still don't. We don't understand conventional truth. That's why we make a mistake all the time. That's how we get into trouble and make ourselves miserable. so so Dharma Buddha is seen as a source of benefit and happiness. Also, this Buddha's teaching is seen as considered as true origin of happiness and benefit. So Buddha is not somebody. Buddha is not causeless. Buddha became Buddha. This is actually what I said. Like in Christian, in people who believe in God, God is God from the beginningless lifetime. He is God from the very beginning of it. But this is not the case in Buddhism. In Buddhism, Buddha is the founder of Buddhist teaching of Buddhism, but he's not like God. We don't see him like God. We see him as a supreme teacher, supreme master who can guide you towards the ultimate happiness, permanent happiness, who can guide you to free yourself from suffering, who can guide you to get to the so that's the difference. That's the major difference between Buddhism and other major religions, such as Christian and even certain other non-Buddhist religions. So how did Buddha become Buddha? How did Buddha become Buddha? So Buddha became Buddha because he happened to meet his masters, spiritual masters, teachers, and he learned from them. He received their insight, their understanding of things, their understanding of Dharma or teaching, and also he did his own. He did his own study and analyzation or investigation, and then practice meditation and cultivate like compassion and altruism and loving kindness. That's he finally attained enlightenment. So that's what he's saying. He's different. He's not seen as like God like other religion do. We don't see the what we are saying is why reason we are saying this, because you and me right now we have our mind is very much deluded and afflicted and polluted and disturbed and so forth, but still we can change ourselves for good, and we can also become like Buddha. It's not like we have to be this way forever. We are who we are, and it's gonna be this way forever. We don't have to. We don't think that way. We don't want to think. This is not the case. This is not fact. It's not truth. It's not according to Buddha teaching. We all can be changed. We all can be better and better and better and become a become the best of the best, like Buddha. That's what saying. The reason was. So we have a lot of people have a lot of people, have a lot of wrong notion, wrong idea. Oh, I'm like that. We are like that. We are human. We are, we are angry. We are jealous. We are attached. We have to have this. We have to be. We will be this way forever. This is not the case. It's not true. It's not true. If you want to be Buddhist, you follow on the Buddha's teaching. You have to we have to get it from these ideas and instill the idea that I can be changed for good. I can be a compassionate, kindest, and wise and so forth. That kind of idea you must instill in your head and then work on that. And definitely you will be like that. So we have to understand, studying Buddha's teaching, we have to understand untamed mind, undisciplined mind, unpacified mind is the source of our suffering, and tamed mind, disciplined mind, pacified mind is the source of our happiness. Knowing that, we have to always work on taming our mind, disciplining our mind, pacifying our mind, and we have to work on eliminating, destroying, eradicating our untamed mind, undisciplined mind. That's one of the main practice. That's how you turn yourself into a perfect being. Turn yourself into a good person, compassionate person, and a wise person, and get it from being, selfish and temperamental and so forth. So, so also by studying Buddha's teaching, what you have to know is Buddha main fundamental Buddha teaching is karma. You know the karma? Karma means it's actually called karma. It's a Sanskrit language. Karma. It's karma. It's actually it means action. Action. Yeah, action of our body, mind, speech. So, uh, so in generally, according to Buddha's teaching, what is being said is good karma. Good karma. Good karma means positive karma. Means beneficial karma, beneficial action, beneficial behavior, action of speech, action of thinking, action of body. All these are seen as good karma, positive karma, beneficial karma. They are the source of our happiness. And on the other hand, negative karma, that means harmful karma, karma or action that is taken out of anger, jealousy, hatred, attachment, and so forth, ignorance. These are seen as harmful karma, unbeneficial karma, and negative karma. These are to be avoided. These are to be refrained. These are to be eliminated. Then what happens as a result? The benefit you gain out of it is you can be free from suffering. You can be free from trouble. That's what we want, right? So if you want that, that's what we have to do. So dharma means so this good karma of body mind speech and bad karma of our body mind speech they are produced by whom? Produced by our mind, right? You happen to be here today because your mind tell you to do that, right? Your mind says, hey, go to this place. There is a monk talking about Buddhism. See what she's saying. That kind of your mind has encouraged you, make you come here. Nobody forced you, right? So mind is the most powerful thing. And when you talk about when you talk about happiness, we are talking about happiness of our body and happiness of mind. According to Buddha teaching, happiness of mind can be much more beneficial and powerful and necessary than happiness of our body. Okay, because it can, no matter how much hardship that you experience at the physical level, if your mind is strong and positive and powerful, you can endure that hardship that experience by your experience at the physical level. You understand? Because mind is more powerful than the body. But on the other hand, if you although you are physically well-being, physically healthy, and you are well taken care of and so forth, but mentally you are sick and weak and emotional, and beat by so many kind of emotion and something, then you won't be able to enjoy your physical well-being. You understand? How about the answer? So especially the Dharma, when we talk about Dharma, the Buddhist teaching, we are talking about so many levels of practicing, so many levels of Buddhist teaching, so many levels of Dharma. Here, this text that we are studying, this text is talking about the highest form of Dharma, highest level of path or practice, path or practice that which by practicing you can attain the Buddhahood, you can attain enlightenment, which by which you become the source of benefit and source of happiness for not just for yourself but for all living beings. So, so that's why it is said that Pende June Zobe Sanje Zobe Pende June De Sanje Temple Jode. So here, Buddha's teaching is source of benefit and source of happiness, source of ultimate benefit and ultimate happiness. Knowing Jetsongkhapa, he's the founder of our tradition. He says in his teaching, in his greatest Lamrim teaching, he said, "Tempa kono laji dwai is dele kunji tsawa yichenes." Only the Buddha's teaching. Tempa means Buddha's teaching. Is the uh, is the origin or main source of happiness, ultimate happiness for all beings, such as human being, and even the gods. There are many. In Buddhism, we talk about different gods, different level of gods. God, they enjoy quite wealthy life, quite luxurious life, quite comfortable life. But although they enjoy all these things, but according to Buddhist teaching, they are temporary. They cannot enjoy or have that luxurious life forever. They also all these good luxurious life, comfortable life they have somehow obtained or get to enjoy through their good karma, but they are subject to disintegrate. They are subject to come to end. We are talking about by attaining enlightenment. We are talking about happiness that does not come to end, that stays forever, permanent happiness. So by the that's why he's saying since this is the Buddha's teaching, such as especially the teaching like this kind of teaching, the method aspect of the Bodhisattva teaching, Bodhisattva path, which talks about method aspect, which by which we get to learn and get to practice greatest compassion and altruism and so forth. These are the uh, these are the origin or main source of ultimate happiness and ultimate benefit, not just for all living beings, but also for beings like a human being and even gods. So the knowing that you have to, nyingdo means so you have to, although although you have to risk your own life, although you have to risk, you have to make a lot of sacrifice for it. You have to do that, and also out of courage, you have to. Tamju Zimba means you have to abide by this. In other words, you have to practice this teaching. So by practicing this teaching, you can free yourself from all the suffering and attain ultimate happiness, and free yourself from all the wrong faults and develop all the positive qualities and become enlightened or achieve enlightenment. This is kind of same thing. So just like Buddha did that, and we have to do that. We have, just like Buddha did, attain enlightenment by practicing the path, and he attained enlightenment. We have to also practice the path, which is composite of method aspect and wisdom aspect. And then by studying and contemplating and meditating on the path, this path taught by Buddha, we can also attain enlightenment. That's why we have to make effort on that. So this is, I think, pretty much same that I have already said. So in order to practice it, in order to practice Buddha's path, you have to understand it. For that, you have to study it. That's why author says that I'm going to explain his teaching. So right now, what author is saying that since we all seek happiness, not just temporal happiness, but the ultimate happiness, and we want to be free from suffering, not just temporarily, but free from all the root cause of suffering, and free from suffering forever, we have to practice Buddha's teaching. When we talk about Buddha's teaching, we have many different levels. We have to practice all the forms of Buddha's teaching, especially the teaching or path which is studied and practiced by Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva is like a Bodhisattvas are those practitioners who mainly cultivate, of course, who cultivate both wisdom and method aspect of the path, but especially here in this case, according to this text, mainly the greatest compassion and altruism. So that's why if you practice this greatest compassion and altruism and loving kindness, and then of course it also involves the practice of the wisdom aspect, you can attain enlightenment. Now, this is what he says. Now, second, now it comes to the question: when you have to practice his teaching, when you have to study and contemplate and meditate on on the teaching, on the path taught by Buddha. He said, this time, during this lifetime, you cannot or don't want to postpone it sometime. Oh, I can do it next year or even next life. You don't want. This is the human. We had. Okay, let me just first explain briefly the meaning of the words. What he's saying is, the human rebirth that we have obtained is considered as a very precious human rebirth and very rare to obtain again. And because it is endowed with 8 qualities and 10 endowments. And so when we have obtained this precious human rebirth, we have to work on freeing ourselves and others from suffering and their cause of suffering, and as well as help ourselves attain the enlightenment and help others or all living beings attain enlightenment during this time, during our lifetime. Because this precious human rebirth, we won't have it again. It's very difficult to obtain, especially human rebirth endowed with 8 leisures and 10 endowment. In order for any living being to obtain this such precious human rebirth endowed with 8 leisures and 10 endowment, one requires to accumulate lots of merit. So that's why it is seen as very rare and very difficult to obtain this kind of precious human rebirth again and again in our future lifetime. Right now is the best golden opportunity for us to study and contemplate and meditate on his teaching. That's why we can free ourselves from the suffering of rebirth, cycling. We call it cycle. Our life is just cycle. We reborn, we age. Right now is your happiest moment of life. I think you have pretty good health. You're looking good, and have a lot of opportunity for fun and all that. It's all temporary. I don't want to say this. I don't want to discourage you. You have to enjoy your life for sure. but at the same time, knowing and studying is good. Studying Buddha's teaching is good. Buddha teaching don't say that you cannot have fun. You can have fun, but as long as you are not causing trouble to anybody, You understand? While you are having fun, you are not having fun. At the same time, you are causing trouble to anybody, causing misery and suffering to other body. You can have fun, be happy, be jolly. It's okay. It's not something that is prohibited. So, but at the same time, knowing that it's good to know that it won't, that youth that you have strength and all that, that it won't last too long. It is impermanent. It's all subject to, we all, like myself. I'm getting older. I look old, right? Getting old, everything is turning ugly. I'm not like that before. What I used to be, pretty good young cute boy, good looking man. But you age, you get older, you look ugly, and that's a nature. It is a nature of our life. It's
You don't
nothing.
look ugly, Lama.
So we all are. It when we say this thing, it don't mean like I'm painting our life very negatively. Making is all making look our life is miserable. So it is good to know. Studying Buddhism is like a looking at the mirror. Studying Buddha's teaching is like a looking at the mirror. Mirror. When you get up and shower, brush teeth, and shower, what do? You love to do. You look at the mirror, right? And you fix your. When you look at the mirror, you can see anything wrong on your face, hairstyle, everything, dressing. You check yourself and see, make sure you look good. Similarly, if you have some problem, not looking bad, damaged, dirty, you can see it, right? Mirror will tell you, hey, there's something wrong here. Hair is not right, clothing. So tell you, and then you fix it. Similarly, when we study Buddhist teaching, that's what we are supposed. It's like going to see doctor. When you go see doctor, he will not tell you something good. Maybe sometimes if you're healthy, then he will say you're good. You don't need to see, take medication and do anything, get treatment, you're good. But if you have something wrong, he will tell you. Like he will test and all that. Similarly, Buddha's teaching like that. It's not something to be taken personally. I'm not being what you call pessimistic and all that, of course. But it teaches you, don't worry, you have problem, you have faults, but don't worry, they can be changed, it can be fixed, it can be corrected. Everything can be corrected, everything can be better. That's what a Buddha is teaching. There's a good side of it. He will introduce you your wrongdoing, wrong thinking, wrong behavior. At the same time, he will tell you it's not, you don't have to be sad or discouraged or depressed. You can change, you can fix yourself, you can correct yourself. Everything can be correct, no matter how bad you are, how bad we are, I should say. We can still be corrected, we can still be better. There's always opportunity to get better. It's not like the end of the day or end of the world. Always there, no matter whatever happened in your life, how miserable our life is, we can still be free from that misery. That's a good thing about Buddhist teaching. Because it is something in your hand. Everything is in your hand. That's important, good to know. Everything is your hand. No one can take that away from you. People can cause you some kind of play the role of conditional factor to make you unhappy, but they don't have that power to make you 100% misery in your head. Or your mind is in your control. Nobody can have control over your mind. It's only you. So because in our mind is the one that determines whether or not we can be happy or unhappy. So if that can be keep our own control. So we want to have a control over our mind. We want to be the controller, employer, who employs our mind to do the right thing. These are the ideas that is very important, especially for young. He says she's Buddhist, so I'm saying it because that is important to have this idea. Oh, I feel sad. Then you don't have to feel sad. You can change it. You can make yourself feel good, thinking something positive. It's all in your head. You can correct your thinking immediately, make yourself look okay, feel happy. So you don't let what that's what I'm saying. You don't let yourself be controlled by your emotion, be controlled by your feeling. Feeling is important, of course. It's all about feeling, but that feeling can be changed. That feeling is also dependent. That feeling is also produced by your own thinking, your own way of thinking, your own way of seeing and understanding and interpreting things. So it can be changed. You can see, change your perspective, change your interpretation of whatever has happened with you or around you. You can change, you can interpret in a nice way, positive way, and you will feel okay. That can be changed. So so it's a dashing question. This is a precious commentary, but we have to day and night we have to, without being distracted towards the mundane things. Mundane things means without as a practitioner, as a follower of the serious follower of Buddha's teaching, we don't let our mind be distracted by uh, things that we do in our everyday life. We spend most of our precious time doing little tiny bitty things, and which is not really mean anything at the end of the day or end of the life, end of the time. And you don't want to totally, of course we have to certain things we have to work on, feeding ourselves, cooking and buying grocery and stuff, like important things, education, so forth, health, protection, and it's important. But we also happen to spend a lot of our time doing what you call not important thing, something very useless thing. We don't do that because you are precious. You have obtained very precious humanity birth, which through which you can accomplish the highest goal, which is the permanent happiness, by utilizing your opportunity that is provided by this precious humanity birth in doing something, doing the greatest thing, which is which is especially in this case practicing the path taught by Buddha, by which we can gradually attain the permanent happiness and be totally free from suffering and their cause of suffering. So that's why you don't let your mindset be, especially in your case, you are studying, your mind should be mostly focused on the education, right? Health, it's important. As long as you have a good health, you have a good education, your life will be much more better. And then learn to control your mind, learn to shape your mind, fix your mind, wrong thinking, especially all these things. Your life will be very peaceful, much more peaceful. Of course, you sometimes on and off, our mind will be disturbed by external factors, but most of the time you will be able to stay cool. So in the day and night, without being distracted, we have to study and contemplate and meditate on the path taught by the Buddha, and then that way we can become Bodhisattva and then gradually become Buddha. That's what I was saying. So if I go the detailed explanation, in order to practice the Dharma means Chö means Dharma in Buddha's teaching or path. In order to have a genuine feeling, aspiration to study and practice the path, you have to, you have to, in order to practice Dharma, you have to have feeling, aspiration, and desire or wish to practice, study and practice Dharma, the genuine kind of feeling. You have to have that feeling. But how does that happen? In order to have a genuine feeling, what do you call, very strong aspiration, strong wish, strong desire to study and practice Dharma, you have to understand Dharma is because all we want is happiness and be free from suffering. So if then that's the fun, then since that is our fundamental aspiration of our life, our entire life, then the Dharma practicing Dharma, you have to understand with conviction that practicing Dharma is the root source of your happiness and also the through which you can free yourself from the suffering and their cause of suffering. That understanding you have to have. That can trigger the aspiration to study and practice Dharma. Otherwise, of course, we are not stupid. Right? Nobody is stupid. We want some benefit. We want some profit. We want to do something that is beneficial. That is a good thing for us. So, if we have that, then and if you understand that Dharma is the path of Dharma, the teaching taught by Buddha is the practicing it is the source of our ultimate happiness and a method by which we can free ourselves from suffering and the cause of suffering, then definitely we will be in we will be free. We will have the strong aspiration or genuine aspiration to study and practice Dharma, and that also practice Dharma itself is. It also one thing. Another thing we have to know is practice Dharma means what? Means taming our mind. Practice now, when we talk about what practice, how do we practice? Means it means practice. You practice when we say I'm practicing Dharma or practicing Buddha's teaching. What you are saying, what you are thinking, what you should understand is I'm what I'm supposed to do. You have to understand that you are supposed to work on taming your mind, disciplining your mind, pacificating. That's what it's only is very emphasizing here again and again that make sure that we get it. Otherwise, we think we are practicing, but we are not really practicing. A lot of time, we think we are practicing Dhamma, but we are not practicing the real Dhamma. We are just fooling ourselves and wasting our time. So work on taming our mind and get it from untamed mind. And also Dhamma means also in another meaning or another way of defining Dharma. Dharma means Buddha's teaching. Another way of defining Dharma means it means, what do you call that? Chiba means transforming our unkind mind into kind mind, transforming our selfish into unselfish, transforming our uncompassionate mind into compassionate mind, transforming our untamed mind into tamed mind. That's called Dharma. That's called practicing Dharma. And that means that can be done by taming our mind and getting rid from untamed mind. You understand? And getting and pacifying our mind and getting it from unpacified mind. He's making it very clear here. So and also another way of saying how to practice Dharma means of course our happiness is depend on whether or not we practice in Dharma, and then that means what we commit, we in our everyday life we make sure we commit positive karma, and we refrain from committing negative karma, harmful karma. Okay, that is, if you do that, then you can also claim that you are practicing Buddha's teaching. So if you do that, if you live a life always making sure you are behaving positively, beneficially, committing good karma, and refraining from committing negative karma or harmful karma, you will be a person who is loved by everybody, but loved by, respected and appreciated and loved by, of course, your family, people in your neighborhood, people who are studying together, working together, associating together. They will all love you because you are always nice. You won't do anything that causes problem to anybody. So everybody will love you. When you enjoy the love from other people, your life will be much more better, don't you think? A lot of people feeling loneliness. Why? Because they feel so isolated. They don't feel the love. They don't feel the trusted. Nobody trusts them. Nobody like them. Nobody want them to be with them. So it's sad life. We are human. We are, what do you call it? Scientists call social animal. We need to be accompanied. We need to have somebody to talk to, somebody to share our feeling, somebody to love, or somebody loving us, and somebody to love. This is human nature. So that's why if you behave negatively, commit negative karma, or do harmful things, and never do good things to anybody, then of course nobody would want to be with you. Then your life, no matter how much wealth, name, fame you may have, you won't be happy. You will feel yourself definitely isolated and feel lonely and depressed. That will be miserable. That can come to the very bad ending of life. A lot of people suicide. Why they suicide? They feel hopeless. They feel not loved. They feel left out. They feel isolated. They feel not wanted by anybody. That's a very sad feeling that anybody can have. That can definitely make us do very stupid thing. So we don't want to. We don't want to be that way. We don't want to make that happen. and by transforming ourselves into a good person. So, so it's because he's only saying that we are very so lucky. We are human. We have a marvelous brain by which we can study things. We can understand. We think that we don't understand. If we study, we can understand things. We can enlighten ourselves in so many ways. But those beings like a dog and animals, they don't know. They, of course, we talk about, oh, they are smart. My dog is very smart. He can do this. He can, but it's very limited. Very limited. They cannot do like we do, human can do. They cannot accomplish a lot of things like we can, So that's why we are, especially in the case of Dhamma, studying Buddhism, especially Buddhist philosophy, especially Buddhist philosophy of mind is very difficult. It's very complicated. It's an unending discussion and study. So it requires brain. It requires human brain, intelligence. So that's we have right now. So if you, that's why he's always saying we are very fortunate that we have all the necessary facilitating factors, contributing factors by which we can that we can utilize and study and practice the Dharma and make our life far more better. And also so there is a precious home. A lot of people. Some people, a lot of people, they of course, as a Buddhist, it's not, we are not talking about just happiness of this life, but we are talking about happiness of mainly happiness of future life, because the life that we have is very, very short. It's just the longest we may live 100 years. So life goes by very fast. So now, if you are around 20, I felt until I was 20 something, I felt like we have time, especially I was with the monastery. I feel like we have a lot of time. Time does not goes by very fast enough. We want time goes by soon. That way we can get to the day which Monday is a holiday. We wait for Monday to come, and then we can have good time. Because we are young and we want to have fun. We don't want to study. But and the days it feel like a long day. We have a lot of everyday activities that we have to attend. So days seem like very good. After you leave the monastery, you become older. You go into university and study. So day goes by so fast, especially since I came here. Day goes by, I can't believe day goes by so fast. That means our life is, we are moving every single minute, every single second. We are moving towards our last day, which is the death. We are not okay. So so, but that's why a lot of people, and also that they have people who have, so who are human rebirth. We hear so human rebirth endowed with 8 leisures and 8 endowments. That means you have Jawa. Tawad and Jawa means you have freedom to practice Dhamma, study Dhamma, practice Dhamma, and you have all the facilitating and contributing factors to study and practice Dhamma that a lot of beings, even human beings, does not have. So maybe I should not talk much about these things. It's taking a long time. Tawad, so Tawad, yeah, the German, so actually it means precious human rebirth means endowed with 8 leisures and 10 endowments. That means 8 leisure means you have the freedom. Tawa means all time, like time. You have the time to study and practice Dhamma. It is to be seen as very fortunate. Why he's saying, when you have a time to do something good, do something meaningful, do something very useful, not just temporarily useful, but that is useful, that will be useful, and that will become the source of your future happiness. Is seen when you have that opportunity, the free time, it is seen as a very fortunate, very lucky to have it. It is something very rare to have it again. It is not something that everybody has. Even, of course, even a lot of beings, they don't have that time. See, look at people, talk to people. I'm so busy. Busy doing what? Busy doing the same thing. But and not much meaning after all. Think about it. There's not much meaning. It's just temporary. It's just so that's the thing. So when they say 10 endowments, 10 contributing factors. Endowment means 10 tawagya and jawa. Joa means there's conducive factors. 10 conducive factors. Conducive factor. You understand conducive factors, right? So 10 conducive factors. So these are very important. A lot of time, some people sometimes in many cases you want to do something, but you don't have conducive factors. You can't do it. You want to do it so bad, but you cannot do. You don't have that conducive factors. So you can, even although you have a wish aspiration, you cannot. But this is not the case with our precious human rebirth, because we have these 8 leisures and 10 endowments. That allows us, that provides the opportunity, the environment, atmosphere, that by which we can do it. And that is to be seen as a very fortunate to have this, opportunity and conducive factors. And that is not to be wasted. That is to be taken very seriously and utilize it meaningfully every day, every single day, and make effort and make sure we succeed in making our life meaningful and beneficial, and do something not just beneficial, not just temporarily or happiness of this life, but we also make sure we do something great. That way we can feel confident and ensure that we will also be happy, or happy life in our future life as well. That is to be done by practicing the path taught by Buddha, which is composite of method aspect, the wisdom aspect, that can help us attain enlightenment. So so it is said that it is, so in some any question? Hmm?
No.
So this, what he's saying is, so this, so taming our mind is something that is not something like, it's not like a object that you can buy from what you call mall, by store, it's not something you can buy it, or you can, that can be produced. Taming a tamed mind, in other words, tamed mind is not something like object that you can buy from mall or big store, pay the money and get it. It's not like that. Also, it's not like a object that can be produced, manufactured by in the factory and so forth. It's also not like, seed that you can plant in the soil and let it, grow, and then you can have it. It's not like, it's something that you have to work on in your everyday life. You have to work on training your mind, taming your mind, discipline. You have to work on that. The only way to tame your mind is you have to practice it. Practice. You have to practice in training your mind. You have to practice in disciplining your mind. And by practicing, or by cultivating, I should say, mindfulness and awareness. You know the mindfulness. Have you heard about that? Today, the mindfulness meditation is very powerful, very popular. You haven't heard mindful meditation? You guys do meditation at the school or university? No? Okay. So today is in the West, especially meditation, mindfulness meditation is very important. It's talking about, be mindful of your, how you feel, in the body, in every part of the body, how you feel, and how you feel the feeling, thought image. Mindfulness, focusing on feeling, mindfulness focusing on the feeling of every single part of the body. They are just trying to observe the tiny bitty things that is happening in every single parts of the body, and all how the feelings are being felt, and how they are originated, how they are, you know uh, how they grow, how they feel, every single, that also considered as a mindfulness. But here mindfulness means, like a you're like watching your own mind, watching the actions of your movement of your mind and actions of your mind, actions of your speech, actions of your actions of the body. So that's it's called mindfulness. So you have to be mindfulness. You have to be mindful. You have to be mindful of mind. You have to be mindful of the actions of your body, mind, speech, and and when you find it's not behaving, you have to make it behave. It's thinking wrong, you have to make it correct. Okay, that kind of thing. That's how you train your mind. So what time is it? Now he's only talking about a lot of practitioners. What he's saying is that what he's saying, because taming mind is the most difficult task that we can what you call it, we can do, taming mind, most difficult thing. Sometimes as a practitioner we get to hear certain practitioners in the past, according to history, or they did certain parts of the Buddhist practice, such as certain practice of the tantra, certain kind of retreat or meditation or reciting mantras and so forth. They did it about like a few months or year or so. Then suddenly they boom, there's something happened. They developed realization, and then they became they attain enlightenment, or they develop they attain supreme power and so forth. So of course we had certain practitioners who happened to develop realization within a short period of time through study and practice and meditation and so forth, and have also have attained liberation and enlightenment. But that these cases are rare cases. We cannot expect that can happen to us, unless these cases happens only to those who practitioners who had practiced Buddhist teaching in their past life, in their early life, in the past, in many lifetime in the past. That's why in this lifetime they just need a little bit of trigger. They need a little bit of trigger that can trigger their already cultivated positive state of mind that they have been training in their past. They had been training in their past life, that only need a trigger, and then that suddenly boom, that they develop. They succeed in taming their mind. They succeed in developing wisdom and realization, and then they succeed in attaining enlightenment. So that's that. So it can only happen to such people, such practitioners, not to everybody. So as an ordinary being, it takes effort. It takes sustained effort and continuous practice for a long period of time. So you don't. In other words, he's saying you don't have an unrealistic expectation by practicing Dharma and say you practice it for some time, let's say a few years, even 5 years. Oh, I've been practicing for 5 years, 10 years, studying, but I'm not getting nowhere. It's not working for me. It doesn't seem like something that is achievable, something that is that can be accomplished, or something that I can become better. You don't want to think that. When you compare yourself while you are on the path, while you are studying and practicing Dharma, how do you compare? You compare yourself 5 years before, 10 years before. 10 years before, I was like an angry man, jealousy man, and attached to every little thing, or, undisciplined man, a person very misbehaving all the time. But then compared to 10 years before, 5 years before, today, through the practice, study and practice of Buddha teaching, I'm much better. That kind of, that's how you compare yourself, not just yesterday or last month. You compare yourself and a few years, 5 years before, and then you can see, because these positive changes, positive transformation won't take overnight like that. It takes time for us to see the positive transformation within ourselves, you know. And also that also requires a lot of sustained effort and devotion and commitment, and also wisdom as well. Otherwise, do you think you are practicing Dhamma? Maybe you are not. Practice Dhamma means we talk about preparatory practice, intention, action, completion, all of these three stages of practice is to be completely pure, completely virtuous, completely carried out of the pure compassion, pure loving kindness, pure altruism. Unless these so-called practice that we think we are doing in our everyday life, or for years, or for if they are not, if they have not been carried out with uh, went through, if they have not been carried out through these three, at least three stages, say first stage is pure motivation, which is like out of compassion and altruism and so forth. And while you are practicing or taking executing the practice, it has to be totally pure, you know, genuine and so forth. And ending should be completion of the practice should be also, pure, and also with the pure dedication, that merit that you may have out of the practice is to be dedicated for the well-being of all sentient being, or to attain enlightenment. Unless you have all the practice that you think you have done or we have done through in the last many years, 5, 10, 6, 10, 100, 20 years, if you have not practiced, if you have not been practicing perfectly, correctly, or sincerely, or with a pure heart, correct everything, all these three stages correctly and perfectly and completely, we may not, we may not uh, achieve the desired result, the result, because we have missed so many things. I think we are practical. Even though in my case, if I say prayers, it has to be said with the pure intention and carried out with the pure intention as well. And also at the complete, when you complete it, it is to be I have to do it, it is to be ended with the dedication prayer, dedicating the merit in order to attain enlightenment for the sake of all being. That kind of purity and sincerity is required in order for the whole practice to become complete and perfect, and highest, especially highest level of Buddhist Mahayana practice or Bodhisattva practice. Otherwise, so-called practice we think we are doing, we claim we may not have been doing it correctly and perfectly and with the pure heart. That's why we cannot expect big result from it. That's what he's only saying. And because all the practitioners of the past, such as Buddha himself, Indian masters, even Tibetan masters, no, and a lot of Tibetan masters, Indian masters we had in the past, they have dedicated so much, of their lifetime, of their, effort, and studying and practicing. That's how they gradually attain, develop realization and attain liberation and enlightenment, arhatship and enlightenment, not because just having made effort in for practice in a short time, and which is also not carried out with the complete requirement. So that's what he's saying. So he's saying it's very important that we have to study, and first we have to study, and then we have to contemplate on what we have studied. Te means hear it or study it by yourself, reading book or listening from somebody, and then you think about it. You think about what you have heard today. Like in your case, you are here for the first time, listening to somebody like me talking about his Buddha's teaching, and you don't have to just accept it, without examining, without checking whether it's making sense or not. You have to think about it. Hey, this guy said this and then that. Does it really make sense? Is he saying something correct? Is it something logical? These things you have to find out yourself in your own head thinking. You have a brain. You have definitely. I believe you guys must be very smart. So you have to use your own wisdom and intelligence and think it is really making sense, or is just talking nonsense. So this is something that you have to do it yourself in your thinking. That's called contemplation. You're thinking about what you have heard from the class, from this guy, and then you think about it and check, examine, analyze. Then, oh, it makes sense. It makes. Then you apply. Then you apply, and apply means you practice it. You live by that. Idea, that principle, that teaching. Otherwise, you don't take. So in Buddhism, we have to study. Then we have to think. It's also part of meditation in according to our teaching. Is contemplation is also part of meditation, and so because then it is said that our master would say that if just hearing, if you keep your information knowledge at the level of hearing, just hearing, it's like you have it's like a tape record. You have recorded something, because tape record can record everything, right? But they don't know, right? They don't know. It's just a recording. So you don't have to just you don't want to just have you don't want to record the information that is being shared here. You have to think about. If you just keep the information like a recorder, tape recorder, then that information is knowledge is not your knowledge. It does not become your own knowledge. Information that you have received today, you go back and think about it again and analyze, and then you see it making sense. Then you really understand what this guy is talking about. Then it becomes your knowledge when you think about it, contemplate it. So then afterwards, you apply it, or you can even meditate. If I say, for example, if I'm teaching about meditation, then you can, oh, this guy, the way in which one we should meditate, this guy is making sense. And then you meditate on it. You just actually you have to you through the contemplation of over what you have heard. If you make sense, then you draw the conclusion. Actually, means what you have, what you understood through the contemplation of the information you have heard from somebody. Then you are able to draw the conclusion, and on that conclusion, that's how you meditate. If we talk about emptiness and impermanence and so forth, that's how you think about it. Then you draw the conclusion. Then you place your mind on that understanding. That's meditation. There's means certainty, certainty. The what you have to we call means like you have to be like it's like a certified, or it's you have to be certain, certain. You have to be certain that, okay, this is absolutely correct here. What he is saying is absolutely very logical. That's kind of conviction or certainty that you have to feel. Then on that certainty, then you what do you call that? Meditate. Otherwise, you do study, but you don't think about it. You don't meditate on it. Then you are studying where you are studying does not become complete. That's what I see. There's some about social malunga means a lot of time people first they don't study, even though they study they don't think about it, and they don't make sure they is correct. Then whatever you're doing is does not become complete. When you do the task incomplete, then you won't achieve the desired goal. Make sense? And then next one is now so far his author is talking about practicing Dharma in order to attain enlightenment. Now he's saying, and then he's saying practicing Dharma, studying and contemplating, meditating, practicing Dharma in doing this precious human rebirth. Now he's saying, then how do we practice? How you practice? When we say practicing Dharma, in other words, the way in which we say how to practice Dharma means while we are practicing the Dharma, what we are doing is we have to get it from the cause of suffering. Reason why reason why we are practicing Dharma is we want to get it from the suffering, right? And we can get it from the suffering by if we can only get it from our suffering if we can get it from the cause of our suffering. Suffering is caused by causes condition. So for that, and what are the causes? And according to Buddha's teaching, the causes, main cause, then of course we can talk about contributing factors, conditions, external conditions that can trigger suffering in ourselves. But Buddha is talking about the root cause. It's like a cancer disease inside that, outside factors can disturb your health status, but the main cause you have inside, unless you do the surgery, you cannot take it out. So similarly, as long as we have root cause of us. As long as we keep the root cause of our suffering within our mind, we can never be happy, or we can never be free from suffering. So what are the root cause? According to Buddha's teaching, of course, there are so many affective emotion, negative emotion, that causes suffering, and that lead us to negative action, and that results into suffering. That's how we say. Especially when we talk about, if we summarize, they talk about three major negative emotion, such as attachment, hatred, and ignorance. And among that, so in order to get it from this, and then in order to uh, be able to eliminate these major negative emotions such as attachment, hatred, and ignorance, we have to, as a beginner practitioner who is beginner, beginner, what we do is you have to stay away from the object of attachment, object of anger, say object of anger, object of hatred, such as, for example, if you hate somebody, you dislike somebody, you don't, somebody who irritates you all the time, somebody who abuses you and so forth, you don't like him or her, then what do you do is you cannot fight, let's say, or somebody who is strong and tough and brave, and so you cannot challenge. What you do is you just stay away from them, right? You just stay away. Similarly, something that you find in the market, mall, let's say, very attractive something, expensive car, expensive motorcycle. You're crazy, you went crazy about it, you really want it so much, but you don't have money. What do you do? So, then you don't go and look at it all the time. When you do that, then you crave for it, and you crave for it. You get so attached, you go crazy. You want to just, if you don't have money, you ask for your parent, you have asked for your daddy and so forth. Nobody give you try to work, you cannot even make money, you feel miserable because you don't have the money to buy. You want to buy, you cannot. It's like end of the world or something if you don't have it. You sometimes, not everybody, some people, they have a strong emotion, they feel that way, and that makes them miserable. So what the best thing you can do, you just forget about it. You just even don't close to those object of attachment, such as beautiful expensive car and sport motorcycle and so forth. So if you stay away from them, you let your mind, not think about it, and stay away from the object of your attachment, is called. And similarly, we can talk about object of hatred or anger. If you stay away from all these things, then you will not be angry, or you will not be attached. Then as a result, your mind will be much more happier. So, Payupon, so according to Buddhism, and for me, it's true. I get that. I have that experience as well. I have to be mindful. I remind myself, hey, you need to be mindful and do not make mistake here, and do not let yourself uh, engage into negative karma. I just remind myself. Otherwise, sometimes I don't translate into action, but it sometimes arises in my head, because when I go see my mother in India, so there are people, so payupo jasila means, payupo means you have to. What he's saying is the nyengi chola doja chudriyo. So the bottom line, when we are saying practicing Dhamma, means we have to eliminate our attachment and eliminate our hatred, and so and then eliminate our ignorance. So in order to do that, the best thing, the easiest thing, especially for the beginner, what you do is you stay away from the object of this attachment, object of hatred, and if you are, and also for me, the way I translate, explain is that when you are, of course, ignorance is behind all the negative emotion. Okay. Also it is also when attachment is too strong, hatred or anger is too strong, it shadows our mind, it clouds our mind. We that way is obscures our mind. Then we won't be able to make the right judgment, we won't be able to make right decision in terms of what is right and what is wrong, I should or what I should not do. And then we make mistake out of anger, out of so attachment. It kind of like it's like a plays the role of ignorance. Langdor means langdor means what you do and what you should not do. You lose that mind that can help you understand, make the distinction or judgment. Then you tend to do negative karma, and that can result into more kind of trouble. So Payupon, just in Payupon means your own home country, home place, hometown. You have to stay away from your hometown. You got your home is here in San Antonio. Your parents live here. All right, so this is true. You are in trouble. So actually, it happens because because when we have our home back in Tibet, the monks, those who want to be monk, although they have a monastery, mostly not too big or small monastery they have in their town, they still prefer to go to the central Tibet where they have a big monasteries, thousands of monks. It's like a big university. They they leave their hometown and they have to walk for month and month. They're begging food on the way. That's the young monks do, young boys do. They walk through from different city, different town, and it takes months to get to the central Tibet, where we have big monasteries where we have tens of thousands of monks. So they go into that, they join the monastery, and that's how they study. Those monks who joined those monastery, living nearby, their hometown is nearby in the same city, and then they end up not having good education. They tend to become not good educated, because their home is very nearby, and they go to go visit their hometown to get a good eat food, good clothing, and stuff there. They can go out, they know people, they just go out, have fun and all that. Boys who join the monastery coming from far away from their hometown, and then they don't get because they don't have a transportation at the time, so they cannot walk back. It's too far for them to walk back to the hometown. So they tend to study harder. They tend to become very good educated. Of course, while they are studying, they tend to have they go through a lot of hardship, lack of proper clothing, and necessities like food and shelter. They go through difficult, challenging time, but they devote their full time and focus. They are able to focus their mind on studying and practicing the path taught by Buddha or their master. And they become highly educated, and they become wonderful monk. The monks who join those monasteries, whose hometown is right nearby, they tend to become not so educated, not so good monk either, because they have things to worry about at their home, which is very near. They can walk and then, because when you're home, of course, it is our human nature. We develop attachment and feeling, for our parents, for our grandparents, and even grandparents of family lineage and all that. And also we get attached to people who is nice, who is kind, who is supporting, helping, to our family and parents and so forth. Who are also, on the other hand, we get attached to those people. We would have more friends because we live there. We would have more what you call them acquaintance as well. We will have more close feeling to them. That triggers attachment as well. And on the other hand, we will also have people in the neighborhood, in the town, people who dislike you, dislike your family, dislike your parents, dislike your siblings and relatives and so forth. And then also sometimes they have caused problem in the past and still causing problem. So you tend to develop hatred or dislike or aversion toward those people, which is something to be avoided, something that you are not allowed or supposed to be doing when you are practicing Dhamma, which goes against your practicing Dhamma. So that's why Payupa means if you really want to practice the Dhamma, his teaching, you have to stay away from the hometown. That's what Payupa means. You eliminate means you have to stay away from hometown. You have to go far away from hometown. That's and also that's what monks are supposed to be doing. It's actually mainly focused on the teaching for the monks, I think. But at the same time, if you stay away from hometown, you go to a different town, you again develop relationship and form a family and all. You are same. You are creating a same object of attachment, object of anger and everything. And people you attach to, people you dislike. That's how human nature. When we love somebody, if somebody is bothering him or her, you will be unhappy, get mad. Why she is doing this to my loved one, my family? You will get mad. It's nature. Somebody likes of somebody we love, we will like him because he likes my wife, my children, my family. He's nice to. It's a human nature. So that becomes sometimes it can be not too high, low level, it's okay. But it becomes too strong, then it can get in big trouble, it can cause anger, it can cause hatred, then it can cause fight, it also lead to the killing. It happens a lot in Tibet before, especially before Buddhism doesn't come. It was very wild people. People are like an animal. They just fight and kill left and right, So Buddhism tamed Tibetan people a lot, in back in Tibet. So this, so that's why they said that because when you live in your hometown, you develop so much attachment, like a water movement, like a river, water in the river, they're just always moving, right? Chudrayo means it's always moving, some water. Its attachment is like always very strong, very, always arising. If you live in your hometown, you will always develop attachment to your relative, to your family, grandparents, so forth. And you will develop so much hatred and anger and aversion and dislike towards the people who have caused problem or suffering to your family, who are still causing, who might cause problem and suffering in the future. Thinking all these things, you happen to develop so much dislike, hatred, and anger and so forth towards those people. And then because of this strong attachment and strong anger, it clouds your mind and shadows your mind and obscures your mind, and then you lose the it ignores your mind, and then as a result you happen to forget you happen to forget about what you should do, what you should not do, what is the object of what action can be adopted for your own good, what action needs to be avoided for your own good, that kind of thing. You will lose that wisdom, wisdom, that the correct judgment, and you will make mistake. And then or when you are so attached, so angry, you will always do something negative, something harmful, and that will lead you to suffering and then create negative karma and suffering. That's why if you want to practice Buddha's teaching, and you don't want, especially Bodhisattva path, you don't want to do these things. I think my time is running out.
Yeah, it's about 10 past 1. Yeah. So for those of us, Western practitioners, the idea that the practice of a bodhisattva is to leave one's homeland, I mean, it's almost like a metaphor. I think we need to leave our comfort zone. We need to leave our habitual propensities. We need to abandon those habits that we're so comfortable with. Otherwise, we can't transform our attachment. We can't transform our anger. We can't see what our wrong views are because we're just so habituated to them. So it's not so much we have to leave the town.
No, it's not.
But it's leaving our comfort zone.
Yeah.
Of our habitual propensities.
Yeah.
Habits.
Definitely, it's a good way to put it. Actually, pang means give up. But not necessarily. We don't need to take it literal meaning. We can understand. Actually, the main thing is we have. If you are advanced practitioner, then of course you practice mindfulness all the time. You practice cultivate mindfulness and awareness all the time. You will be able to always keep your mind in a virtuous state, and make sure that it is not generating or any negative emotion and thoughts, and that way you don't commit any negative karma. That can be done without worrying about the action object of attachment and anger and so forth. Although they are there, but they won't really directly cause you to develop negative emotion, if there is attachment or hatred. But if you're a beginner, then if you let yourself encounter, or let yourself be exposed to the external factor which serves as a object of attachment, object of anger, and then of course you become vulnerable because you are not well trained, you are not advanced practitioner yet. So that's why you tend to develop emotion that can lead to a negative karma, that can lead to a suffering. That's actually
Makes sense, yeah.
what's the point that he's trying to say. Of course, like he's only saying, although you move from your hometown, and in someone like me, moving from India to here, I still, if I have a family here, I develop attachment and then hatred toward those whom I think is causing trouble and some of my loved one. Same thing, I will have same feeling. That means what's the point? Same thing. So, as a good practitioner or high level practitioner, when it doesn't external factor doesn't matter, but the beginner, best way to avoid or best way to refrain from developing this emotion is to stay away from the external cause. That's the only way. Because as we say, how we we said that external condition or contributing factor such as somebody irritating person, and then emotion, and then summation of the means wrong thinking or misconception. Also, I don't know. I haven't found the exact translation because sulmi means you are thinking or thinking in a way which is not correct. You are thinking in relation to the object of your attachment or object of your hatred, which is not actually correct. That triggers negative emotion. You are wrong thinking. You are either wrong thinking towards overly attached or overly dislike or hatred. It's more like it's somehow being tainted or being strained, being polluted, being polluted by the influence of attachment or hatred. So that's why you are not seeing or thinking in relation to the object of your attachment or object of hatred. In a way, it is logical or reasonable or valid or benefit in a good way, positive way. That is, that triggers negative emotion, then leads to negative karma. All right, we're done.
The dedication prayers.
Yeah, dedication.
Chuksen chomrim hoche ake panam ke gyuchi ke panyam pa me payam gong ne gong do erwa Rinpoche make panam ke gyuchi ke panyam pa me payam gong ne gong du perwa Yang dag lama dang dweme chukir para long chochi sadang lam ki unten rabzong ne dorje shangi gopang nyur tu
Thank you, everybody. Next class, I will be explaining the text by this. This is also Dalai Lama's explanation of the same text, but it is shorter explanation. That way I can finish it on time. This is gonna take 4 hours. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good week.
Nice meeting you guys. Feel free to come again.
Thank you.
Lama Passang. This is Eleanor. Bye-bye.
Hello, Baba. You okay?
Good. Yes. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Thank you, Lama.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.